Hi everybody and welcome back to another Tuesday Tea Time Chat. If you're new here, my name is Amanda and I film videos every single week for my vegan lifestyle section, and then usually every second Tuesday you'll find a video that's just like uncensored, little chat about just some popular topics and things that I've usually been really approached about and asked about. So here we are for another uncensored Tuesday tea time chat. So good. So grab yourself a cup of tea, a cold brew, coffee, whatever you like, and feel free to join me. Today's topic is actually kind of difficult for me to talk about because it's something that I myself have struggled with for a very long time. But I get so many questions about how to deal with it, and I think that it's important that I share this information because I would really hope that it could support other people in their journey. So today's topic is all about anxiety. Now, I think one of the biggest things for me is for people to recognize that there is a difference between having anxiety and an anxiety disorder and being stressed out. I think that is a huge thing that people need to realize, that there's a big difference there. If you're stressed, it happens. We all get a little bit stressed about deadlines. We all get overwhelmed with work or school or, certain things like that. But when you are dealing with an anxiety disorder, or you're dealing with severe anxiety, it really can take a toll on your life and how you're living your life, how you interact with your peers, how you interact with your coworkers, and so on and so forth, how you interact with yourself. So I just want to start this out as a disclaimer. If you or someone you believe that they are suffering, or you yourself are suffering from severe anxiety, or anxiety in general, I encourage you to seek medical attention. I think there are amazing, doctors who are, there to support you on this journey. And I myself, I'm obviously not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I'm just kind of speaking from my own history and just from where I stand. So if you are suffering from anxiety, I encourage you to reach out to somebody that you trust and just see what kind of options there are for you. It could really range from, just seeking some cognitive therapy, or, going to get support from a medical professional. There's lots and lots of different supports out there. You don't need to feel like you need to go on any medications if that is not right for you, but there are lots of options, and I just want to disclaim that I am not a medical professional, but I just want to speak from my own experiences and things that have helped me a little bit, and hopefully that offers you a little bit of support and you don't feel so alone, because I know that there have been many a times where I've definitely felt completely and utterly alone in my anxiety. So there we go. All right, so I'm going to take another sip of my tea before we start. So I don't want to get into, my whole life story. I feel like that's not necessary. But I do want to note that, I have suffered from anxiety since I was about 12 years old. I was just prone to anxiety. I also suffered from OCD as a young kid, and usually OCD and anxiety and often depression usually go hand in hand. So I was kind of dealing with a lot of that as a kid and growing up. A lot of that also stemmed from, social anxiety around people. My skin was very bad growing up. I dealt with some body dysmorphia issues, and I still do. So a lot of that kind of just compiled itself into one snowball effect. But some things that have really helped me, and now being, I guess, like a young adult in my 20s, I've just realized that seeking support does not mean that you're weak. Seeking support means that you are recognizing that you need the help. So I think for a long time I thought, okay, no, I can get through it myself. I can do it. I can do it. If maybe I just, meditate and eat really well, these things will go away. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with significant anxiety that is crippling, sometimes those things don't work on their own. They can definitely help support you, but in my case, that wasn't helpful enough. So I did seek out some medical support, and I really have a very good relationship with my family, and they really support me in that journey. So I felt supported and safe seeking medical attention and just saying, hey, like, I just need to talk about this. Can you offer me some support and guidance? And they did, and I was really supported by my doctor, who gave me guidance into what I can be expecting in the future, and from the therapies that I was receiving. So, like I said, I think that everybody's different, and depending on your anxiety, you might find complete solace in meditating twice a day, and you might have, no issues, which is phenomenal. And if that's you, that's amazing. That's great. But like I said, that wasn't the case for me. I do use meditation once or twice a day as definitely something that does support me, but it's not the only way that I like to combat and get my anxiety under control. So these are some of the things that I do. So besides obviously meditation, usually once or twice a day, I like to stay off of social media when I can. That was a big spark for me. I started to kind of realize that I was comparing myself to all the girls on social media for a very long time, and I was like, oh, I'm not as pretty as them, or I don't look like them, or wow, like that one's much skinnier than me, like, and that really really set fire to my body dysmorphia, and it really caused me a lot of stress and anxiety when I didn't need it. So just kind of knowing what sets your anxiety, right? What triggers are there for you? It could be being around certain people. Genuinely, it could be, certain friends that are quite toxic. And, if that's the case, then maybe limiting your time with those friends, or having a conversation, an open conversation, and saying, hey, like, this is how I've been feeling. That might be a step in the right direction for you. It could be like me, like maybe limiting some time on social media and recognizing that might be a trigger for you. That might help. I, of course, as I said, I meditate once or twice a day, and that's really helpful for me. I do guided meditations through the Calm app, and I love it. There is a free version. This is not sponsored, by the way, at all, but I've been on the Calm app for about 4 years now, and I've really enjoyed it. There's the free version, and then there's also like the premium where you get more features, but the free version is just as great. So you're really not missing out a ton, I don't think. Maybe I should have said that, but it's great either way. So yeah, if you're looking for some solace there, those are some options. If you have ever suffered from anxiety or anxiety attacks, you know that one of the worst things you can do is literally stay still. So I would say if you are experiencing like major anxiety, instead of like, unless this works for you, it doesn't work for me, instead of going to like meditate, if you're experiencing like racing thoughts and anxious thoughts and feelings, and like your heart's racing and you're just really feeling it, I say go for a walk. If you are, able to go for a walk, do it. I've definitely experienced moments where I've been in public, and I've been at the grocery store, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's just all these people. I don't know why. I just get triggered, especially with the current state of our world. I get a little bit more triggered being in bigger spaces. So I try not to go out as much, but I've definitely experienced a bit of an anxiety attack when I was And I was at Shoppers Drug Mart one day, and I said to myself, no, you're going to get your products, because I was on the verge of leaving without buying anything, and I already had some items in my bag, but I said, no, you're going to breathe through it, just walk, just keep walking. And I could feel my heart racing in my chest, and I just kind of, you know how that feels, like, you know, you feel warm, and sometimes your hands might start to tingle because you're not getting enough oxygen running through your body. So anyways, I just said to myself, no, you're going to keep breathing and you're going to keep walking. So I did. I just walked around, followed the arrows, and I just tried to distract myself and say that I was going to be okay. I got my items, paid for my items, sanitized my hands on the way out, and I walked home, and it did help calm me. So if you can find a way to get some like physical activity in there, it does help. Like going for a walk is great, or you know, pacing sometimes, just pacing in your hallway and just breathing and like listening to a song that really makes you feel happy. That does help, or even a podcast. So sometimes that can help. But I know for myself, like sitting and reading a book doesn't work. Sitting and meditating when you're in that heightened of a state doesn't work for me. If it works for you, that's amazing, of course, but it just wasn't something that worked for me. So I just want to give you some other alternatives. Something else that I think really helped me was genuinely talking to people I trust. I used to feel like my anxiety was something that I needed to hide. Like I like if I tell people I have anxiety, then they're going to I don't know, they're going to think that I'm not strong enough, or that I'm weak, or they're going to think that I'm less than, or that they have to like walk on eggshells around me. And that's genuinely what I used to think when I was first suffering from anxiety. And then I started to realize that that's actually not the case. These people that you surround yourself with need to respect and understand you no matter what, and just like, you know, you respect and understand them no matter what. And I think that telling people that you trust and you feel comfortable with is important, because if you're out with your friends, for example, I like to travel a lot, and I travel, you know, quite often on my own. But if I'm traveling with a friend or friends, it's better that they know that I'm a bit of an anxious flyer. I'm a very nervous flyer. It is a trigger for me, but ironically, I love traveling, and a big part of, you know, even work for acting and teaching and stuff, it does involve some travel. So, you know, you just have to make do. And so I found that just telling those people that I'm with, you know, being like, hey, like I am an anxious flyer, or, you know, I do get anxious, so that they know that if I'm quiet on a flight, or if I need to get up and walk, I need to get up and like literally walk around up and down the aisles during a flight just to get my body moving. It's just me trying to breathe and calm myself, you know? So you just have to do what feels best for you. And I think being honest with those people is important. So, you know, telling, you know, your loved ones, like, hey, like, I've just been feeling really anxious lately, or, you know, I do think that I might have an anxiety disorder, and I've been feeling really low and down, and I've been affected by this or that. These are some of my triggers. You know, if you're telling somebody you trust, it could, you know, if you're younger, maybe it's a teacher, you know, or a colleague, or, you know, a friend, your parents. Like, I encourage you to reach out to somebody that you feel comfortable and confident with, and know that they can support you, and they might lead you in the right direction to, you know, a medical professional that can support you, or a counselor at school or something. So don't be afraid to reach out for that help. A lot more people deal with anxiety than I think we realize. I think that a lot of the times we, you know, we think that we're alone, and we're not. I think it's just that, at least from my perspective, we don't really wear that. You know, it's like if you break your arm, you know, you're going to be in a cast, right? And that you know, that arm will heal, and people, you know, will be like, oh, they'll sign your cast, and, you know, they'll wish you well. But I think, you know, when you're dealing with mental health, you can't see it, right? Like walking down the street, nobody knows that I have anxiety disorder. Like, they wouldn't know. And people are often confused too, because being an actress, they're like, how can you have anxiety disorder? How can you be anxious when you're on stage all the time? Or, you're in film and stuff, but they don't realize that there's a lot going on behind those scenes, and no pun intended there, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes that people don't know, and it can definitely affect you negatively. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. I think that there is a stigma within mental health, and like I said, people don't know always how to support you if you are dealing with a mental health issue, right? They don't always know what the best way to support you is, like they would if you had broken your arm, right? So my best support and advice to you is, if you're really dealing with this, it's something that's really, really affecting you, seek out somebody who you trust. Let them know that this has been going on. Maybe it's been going on for years. Like me, you were struggling since you were like 12 and you didn't know where to turn. Or maybe you've just been going through it over the last few months. Whatever the case may be, seek someone out who you trust. Seek out a medical professional if you can, and talk to them maybe a little bit about what your needs are. Maybe talk to them about maybe your fears and worries, and maybe if you don't want to go on a medication, you don't have to. You don't feel like you need to go on medication if you don't want to. And medication maybe isn't always the very first step. Maybe you want to do some cognitive therapy or seek out other remedies, more natural remedies for you first. That's completely fine. Everybody's different. And so I support all of those options. I just want you to remember that you're not alone and that you just need to do what's best for you. So definitely seek out some support there, and just recognize what triggers you and why. I started writing notes on my phone a few years ago, and I remember like specifically writing out, certain things that triggered me. And social media, of course, as I mentioned before, was a big one. And so I stopped going on social media a whole bunch. And, instead of scrolling through like my phone before bed, I would just turn it off and listen to a podcast, or I would put on my Audible, and I would just have my story read to me. One of my favorite books to read at night. This is actually one of my favorite books of all time, but Call Me By Your Name is one of my favorite books of all time. If you have not read the book or you have not seen the film, I highly recommend it. It's just phenomenal. But Armie Hammer's voice, he actually voices the audiobook for Call Me By Your Name. And there's something so calming and soothing about his voice that it doesn't make you sleepy at all. Like, it's not like, oh, you're going to be out like a light. He just makes you feel rested and calm. And when you're engaged in a story like that too, it's kind of nice, because you're like, all right, my imagination is now being used for something other than worrying about the future, because that's exactly what anxiety is. It's literally about worrying and anticipating what the future holds, and to a very severe degree. So it's nice when you can put your imagination to like good use. So I highly recommend doing those items before bed, or meditating before bed. It just gets you into a better groove. So I hope that this video really helped you to see that you are not alone, especially if you're struggling with anxiety. And oh man, my heart goes out to you, because I know firsthand what it's like, and I know what it's like when people say, oh yeah, I understand, but they don't. Yeah, I get that. And I don't mean that to be negative. I just think that unless you've dealt with anxiety firsthand, unless you've, had an anxiety attack or a panic attack, it's hard to understand fully. And, that's okay. Just know that if, you see someone, a friend, somebody who's close to you that's suffering from anxiety or a panic attack, just let them know that you're there for them if they need. And just, remember to be empathetic. But you don't have to, treat us any different. And similarly, if you're suffering from anxiety, know that you're not alone. It affects more people than I think we realize, especially during this time, this difficult time. There will probably be elevations in anxiety just based on, social constructs now have kind of changed. So know that you're not alone in your struggles. If you have any questions, I'm sorry, I realize this video is quite long and I feel like it's just a lot of me saying the same thing over, but if you have any questions or concerns, please seek out medical attention, like a someone who can support you with that. But if there's anything general that maybe I can answer in regards to how to support you in your journey, feel free to leave a comment below. I think we can all support each other in this community, and yeah, I just hope that you know that you're not alone, and that you will be okay. You'll be better than okay. The fact that you're clicking on this video is step one. Realizing that you might need some support is step one. So good for you for starting that journey, and know that everything is going to be all right. Anyways, guys, I hope you have enjoyed your cup of tea. With that, I'm going to leave you guys for the week. Let me know below if there's anything else that you want to hear about, any topics that you're interested in me chatting to you about. I'd be happy to support you. So just leave a comment below. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. I focus on vegan lifestyle and fashion and food and living a healthy life. So if you're interested in that, please leave me a little like or click the subscribe button. And I guess we'll see you guys in a couple weeks, and then on Sunday with a new video. So thanks everybody, and I hope that you're all doing well. Thank you. Mwah. Ciao.